Okay, on last chapter, I'll talk about the hybrid federal single sign-on scenarios and solutions. And in this chapter, I'm going to focus on the hybrid DNS solutions. Now, corporate DNS, regardless if we're using the open source DNS or we're using Microsoft DNS, we always rely on the DNS to forward the user URL towards the right, the right URL service, applications service. Now, how we get the hybrid DNS works? First of all, we should know in AWS we have a DNS product called R53. R53, that's a DNS product which is providing the DNS query, forwardings, DNS failover, and DNS redundancies. So the key to set up the hybrid DNS between the premises and the cloud provider is build up the DNS two-way communication between the premises towards the cloud, and to build up the import and export rules for forwarding the DNS query towards each other. So here are the scenarios. Users in corporate, they try to access application, and that application we're going to be hosted in the DNS in the AWS domains. Let's say this is AWS dot, domain name of the as application. So by adding up the forward DNS on the DNS premises DNS server, by adding up the next forwarding server to point to the R53 in AWS, that DNS query can be forwarded to the R53. And because R53 already have the DNS, internal DNS, setting up for the web services, you are going to forward the request to the right web service. And again, vice versa, similar scenario. Inside of AWS, there are certain applications want to access the premises web services or application server, and then they're going to forward the DNS query towards R53. And when R53 forward checking out the DNS setting, they find out, oh, in the premises domain, we're going to forward the DNS query towards DNS A and DNS B. And then they can forward the DNS query towards the premises DNS server. A DNS server within the premises can also forward the DNS query towards the right web service. By doing so, both the DNS query between the premises towards the cloud and the cloud towards DNS were going to be reach each other's. Now, having said that, let's say we're going to have a multi-cloud environment, multi-cloud. We're not going to just have the AWS, but also we're going to have Azure and we're going to have the GCP. So in that case, each cloud provider we're going to have their subdomains. So the DNS A and DNS B, we're going to end up all the subdomains point to the right DNS product within the different cloud providers. So when the user, let's say, access the web services within the AWS, they are going to forward to the DNS services in the AWS. When the user wants to access the web services within the GCP, the DNS-A, we are going to forward the DNS query toward the GCP. And also, on another side, when the GCP DNS services want to, forward the DNS query, they're going to forward to the premises. So by doing so, we can build up a multi-cloud or hybrid cloud DNS configurations.